Hello everybody and welcome back to a Bitcoin update video. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and what the most recent price action has to offer. If you remember when last time we were talking, Bitcoin was consolidating down in this region here. We had talked about if Bitcoin experiences a bounce from this level to expect to test our all-time high regions. And if we didn't break them, to look for the rejection at a lower high, something like this, for example. And well, we ended up doing something like that. On our bounce, we ended up forming what was called a rising wedge here. Just a quick little sketch, for example, something like that. And we broke it to the downside. And since then, we are now testing our local support again here at our $34,000 level that we were talking about. Um, and now that we have tested this level and successfully bounced off it twice, as well as our longer term trend line here, right now we are looking to test and break our short term trend line here. And what we could expect is if we do break this line, I would expect to come test our local downtrend line here again. And a couple things can happen from here. If we finally break this trend line, look to test our all-time highs. And if we finally break above that, then honestly, as far as I'm concerned, we got much higher to go. It could be something like this, for example, before we continue off higher. If we get rejected here, come back down to our lower levels before we go off, that's fine too. As long as we support above this trend line here, Bitcoin's looking very, very healthy, very, very bullish. The structure is still intact. All the higher lows are still in place. Where it becomes a little bearish is if we finally break this line that we've been talking about before. If we break this line to the downside, I would expect to come down, test this maybe really quick before we retest this and come back down to our lower levels. Um, in the short term, honestly, it could go either way. It's 50-50 here. If we look at the RSI, we talked about how we were oversold here, and we relieved some of that sell pressure then. And until then, we haven't really gotten overbought again. And Bitcoin seems to like to do that every time it does to get oversold in the previous times. Here you can see from this lower low here to that high we pumped up. From here, we went higher. Here we went higher again. But what's really interesting about this pattern is it's still a symmetrical pattern. So usually Bitcoin likes to break out in the direction it is headed into it in a consolidation pattern. So that would be leaning towards the upside. So if we did a measurement something like this from our high to our low in place, something like this, if we take it to our tentative point of the breakout, say it's somewhere over here, we could reach as high as like $50,000. If we do that same measured move then and do it like this, take it to our breakout point somewhere like say here, for example, that would take us to our lower target about $24,000. So you can see the big move coming up. It's pretty massive. It's going to catch a lot of people off guard. Bitcoin's been sitting in this range for about now, let's just say from the time we tapped that line all the way to right now, for about the past 15 days. And that doesn't sound like much, but considering that all the other days leading up to this was Bitcoin pretty much changing prices very, very quickly and accelerating at quite a rapid rate. After this little consolidation period here, we are going to have a pretty heinous move, and I'm definitely excited. But this move is going to happen very soon. If we go to over a daily time frame, you can see there's only a couple more days that could fit before the apex of this little breakout point here. So it's looking like we're going to hold this right now just with these wicks of buy pressure. You can see the candles are getting smaller as we approached our support here. So that's looking pretty good. We just want to see what happens when we test up at this region right here. If we go back to like a 4-hour time frame, for example, the highs and lows that we want to look at for critical support and resistance, we definitely want to hold this green line right here. A loss of this level is not looking so good in the short term. We want to hold this level if we want to keep this uptrend in place. A confirmation below this line is looking for lower levels. To the upside, I would say we got to look at definitely something like this level right, probably like right here. If we can get something above this and keep price action above this like $38,000 level, let alone this high in particular, we really want to take out this 40K. Bitcoin's looking really, really bullish in the short term. Definitely looking to take our all-time highs out and proceed much further. One thing is for sure though, as long as we've been in this Bitcoin uptrend, you know, it is a little bit overextended. It is a little overdue for a pullback. So we can look at this RSI on the daily time frame and see how we've been pretty overextended for some time now, and even in the previous bull cycles, if we zoom all the way out, in our previous cycles on these pumps, for example, in our bull market after our break of our all-time high, you can see when the RSI got overextended and overbought like this for a period of time, it did come back down to test our oversold levels. It did it again over here, it overbought, touch oversold, overbought, didn't make it down to that oversold. This was nearing that end of that bull market phase. You can see the short was you can see that downtrend was very short-lived before it bought right back up and test new highs. So we haven't really seen that in this one yet. We haven't really creeped down into our oversold territories before going back to our overbought. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Honestly, a correction back down to these levels, though, would be very, very healthy in the long term. We can consolidate, form good market structure, good support, and start climbing higher even later, for example. Yeah, that's it though, everybody. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I'm not here to like take up everyone's time all day. I just want to give you guys clear-cut, simple information about what I see in the charts. It's just to provide clarity for you and me about what to expect from Bitcoin in the next coming days, weeks, months ahead. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up down below. Got all my social medias in the description below. I appreciate everybody always for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.